Hi guys, and welcome back to the Study Hack series. This is the 24th hack in the series, and this is about text. So in other words, the words on the paper that you're going to be seeing, and that before the questions you have that text or that background information, and we're going to look at that in this study hack. So we're going to start off with a quote again, which is that every word has consequences, every silence too. That is by Jean-Paul Sartre. And essentially we're saying every word has consequences. So the problem that students the mistake they make is often they don't treat every word on the exam paper as important. And that is a massive, massive mistake, because the examiners have put that text, so imagine you've got text and then you've got question, the examiners have put that text there for a reason. So you have to treat it as extremely, extremely important. If it didn't have a purpose, that text, why would they put it there? They would just exclude it, right? They wouldn't put it there. So you have to take every word seriously. You have to treat every word seriously and really read and understand what's going on. Okay? Because the text can often contain information that can help you in answering those questions, because it provides context and background information. So the first thing would be to do is the advice that I'd give is really read that text and understand the scenario of what's going on. Now, obviously there can be exceptions, so for pretty much every subject I would recommend that you do that. Obviously there's some exceptions like English where they say to read the questions maybe before reading the text. But I think as a general rule of thumb across all subjects, science, maths, most other subjects, is that you should read the text and pretend as though the questions aren't there. Okay? So you've got that text, imagine the questions aren't there. You just want to understand all that text, understand the scenario, understand what's going on in your head. And only when you understand it can you move on to the questions, or the next part of the paper, which is the questions. And the reason why I say that is because often what you get is you get students skimming through that text as though, oh, let's quickly get through that so I can get to the questions, and then just jumping into the questions. Or even worse, what they do is they completely ignore the text and just go into the questions. Oh, there's a question, 1 marker, I know that, let's just move on to that. And they haven't understood the context or the background information. Often what happens is they come unstuck because the questions are often require you to answer in the context of the text or related to the text. So those words, again, in the text have some purpose. Okay? So the reason that I really, really recommend reading the text, again, is so that you have a strong understanding of what's going on. Okay? And then you can answer the questions a lot better, because it'll be a lot easier to answer the questions. Trust me, I've been there, and I know how it is when I've skipped the text and just jumped in the questions versus when I've read the text carefully and then then gone into the questions. And I've seen in which situation do I get more marks, and pretty much all the time it's when I've read the text carefully and understood what's going on, because that contains valuable information for me. So even if you need to spend another 1 or 2 minutes or whatever trying to get your head around what's going on in the text, do it. Because you need to understand the scenario clearly. So even if you want to visualize what's going on, the whole scenario, then do that. Spend that extra 1 or 2 minutes understanding what's going on before moving on to the question. That's what I mean by imagine the questions aren't there. So the text is all that you're going to focus on for that time being, and you need to master that text and your understanding of that before moving on to the questions. Okay, so that would be the action step for today. Really read every single word in that text. Don't skim it. Don't skip to the question straight away. Imagine the questions aren't there and understand all of that text. Visualize it if you need to. Make sure you understand, if you read the tables and all that, or the graphs or whatever, and you have a perfect or really, really solid understanding, and spend maybe another extra 1 or 2 minutes if you need to understand it before moving on to the questions. Okay, so please like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel so you can keep getting content, and I will see you in the next study hack.